Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to paint a black and blue crawfish. You already saw a little picture of him, but I said, you know what? I'm going to make a video today. And I did. So here it is. Let's get right into it. So, of course, I base coat the lure with createx opaque white, and I'll probably just fast forward through this here. I'm just painting all three baits with this createx opaque white. I'm using the Iwata HP-CS brush and a master airbrush compressor, which by the way I thought was going out, but I just turned a little tightener screw on the bottom of the compressor and it's doing great again. Alright, now that I got the base coat on there, I'm going to hit it with Wicked Color Opaque Daylight Blue. And I actually added 1 drop of opaque black in it to kind of lighten up the blueness. 1 drop. Stir it up. I use this little 16 gauge wire and bent a little hook on it. And I never had so much trouble with these things before, but I drop it like 5 times. But anyway, stir it up, paint in blue, and then we'll go to the next step. I am using about 30 psi. So that opaque daylight blue is pretty thick. So I thinned it out a little bit with 4011 reducer. Stir it up. Here's where I start dropping that thing like 3 times. I don't know why. 2, and here we go. One thing I need to practice doing is going a lighter coat. It seems that I want to do heavy coat and get it all dark, nice and dark, but once you add clear coat over the lure, it darkens everything up, ties everything in together. So I need to learn how to, I need to remember to lighten up on my paint. Sometimes I do and the results are better. These got a little dark on them. So here I made these this morning using boxes the lures came in, or you can sell them in sometimes. I just took a heat gun to it. I just placed it over the lure, put a heat gun on it. And so there's a lot of videos and you can do it how to you can vacuum it through and make a real nice tight fit, but I didn't have the time to do that, or didn't make the time, so I just heated up the plastic and molded it on there with my hand, and came out okay. Feel a little better. I might do the vacuum thing later on, but end result's okay, and I'm making those crawl lines, just painting the bottom edge. excuse me, the bottom edge of that plastic to make the line. And then later on I decided I don't like the crisp lines, so I lowered the PSI to about 10 and just lightly brushed it on there. You can see here kind of freehanded the lines a little bit. And then later on I decided to blur out all the hard lines, and I think I like it like that. But the crisp lines are nice too, but in this particular case I just decided to make it blur out the crisp lines. Again, the pressure is really light. I got it about 10, and you just need to take it easy on the pulling back of the trigger, and let a little bit of paint come out. Don't get all crazy. You'll learn how to change your pressure the more you paint. Most of the time you can keep it at about 30, 20, but if you're going to do light detail work, you need to lower the pressure on that compressor. So you can see here where the lines are kind of, you might say, oh, those are ugly lines, but once you blur them out and add all the other effects and features, it doesn't really look that bad. So that's just just a preliminary line. So it'll look better in a minute. So I went ahead and did the other two, both sides. So you can see here where I decided that I'm gonna add some dark spots and make it more, try to blur the crispy lines and add some black to the crawdad, cover up some of the blueness. I'm trying to make it more natural looking, I guess, with some black spots and specks, and it's not look so crispy, Give it some custom work. You don't want to just make something that you can get at Target, Walmart, whatever, Academy. They're all the same. Make something different and add your own touch to it, and that's kind of what I'm going for here. And of course, the back side always got to be a little dark, And again, try to go light on it. I should stop about right there, but do I? Not so much. Always darken the eyes a little. Alright, at least I always darken the eyes a little bit. And this is me just going overboard with the black, but there you go. I think we're done. Looks good. Put it down, Mike. Put it down. So I really like adding black dots to the lure because fish always have little black specks on them, most of them, or a lot of them. So what I do is I turn the pressure down to 1, all the way down almost, where you can barely feel the pressure coming out. And then you flick the trigger like I'm doing right there, and it shoots out spots, instead of painting it by hand or flicking a brush. Or I think this is a little bit more accurate way to do it, and it comes out pretty nice. I'm gonna zoom in here for you. And sometimes you can go overboard like that, and the spots are a little too big, but it's okay. So, you gotta just be careful with the amount of trigger pull you put on there or how close you get. But overall, it came out pretty good. Pretty natural looking, I think. This right here is not titanium white, but pearl white. I wanted to give it a little shiny, thin skin looking base rather than just white. So it's got a little iridescent pearl fine paint on the bottom. And then I flicked some of that on the sides as well, and came out pretty good, I think. Now it seems to me that a lot of crawdads got a little orange on them, so that's what I'm gonna do. Add a little orange, a little bit, just to give it a little orange hue to it. Maybe in the front of the lip, underneath, and on the side a little bit. Hardly noticeable, but I put it in there for another added dimension, another layer of paint. And here it is. After I'm done, I added a little orange to it overall, and I got a little black and blue crawl. Now I need to add the eyes, some glitter, clear coat. And for clear coat, I use epoxy. On these, I'm going to use epoxy because I'm going to add glitter. Let's try to find some eyes. Here we go. These look good. It might be kind of big, but let's see. Super glue, where are you? Okay. They're too big. These are good size right here. Size 5. Okay. 1, 2. Three. Now it's time for clear. So today I'm using BSI 30-minute 2-part epoxy. I'll squeeze in enough for about 3 lures. Add some glitter. In this particular lures, I added some blue and something called disco dust. It's kind of a iridescent glitter. Has all the colors in it. So it's always a good choice for any color lure. Blue glitter? No, disco dust. There you go. And epoxy flows better if it is warm. So after I stir it up a little bit, I usually use my blow dryer, but my heat gun was right here nearby. And I just, from a little distance, warmed it up. Don't get too close because you'll just scorch everything up. Those heat guns get hot. Warm up the bait. Those of you that have trouble with your epoxy not flowing right, it's probably because it's too cold. Warm it up a little bit so that it flows nicely. And get yourself a nice brush that doesn't release too many bristles. I get these on eBay in packs of 100 for like $10. And you can see where it's starting to thicken up already. Even though it's a 30-minute epoxy, it starts to get thick and in about 5 minutes. So you got to keep kind of warming it up a little bit so that it flows nicely on your lure. If you let it get too cold and it starts to harden, and then try to brush more glue over the hardened glue, it's not pretty. So this keeps it loose, warm, and shiny, no bubbles. See how it's flowing nicer now? Make sure you get all the little pockets behind the eyes, behind the gill plates. If you brush over and don't hit that gill plate, you'll have a little air pocket in there, and it leaves a little divot, I guess you want to call it. But make sure you can get the bottom, the back, behind the plates, in the eyes, behind the gills. Again, I only really do this when I use glitter. If the bait's small enough, I'll dip it in KBS Diamond Clear. And I'm really excited. I ordered some Alumalite UV resin, and I'm excited to use that because that's going to be, I think, a whole lot easier. And they cure in 5-10 minutes, not even less than that, depending on the strength of your UV light. So I'll make another video on that coming up. See how that goes for me. But I think I'm gonna enjoy that. This is nice. This is a nice hard coating, but it takes overnight for that epoxy to get fully cured. If you're using KBS, a full cure for KBS, depending on the humidity and of your room and the temperature, it takes about 3 days for me. I don't know, to fully cure. I mean, you can touch it after a day, but it's still a little bit tacky. Takes a while, but it's really nice because you can just dip the whole lure in it. You dip the whole lure in that KBS and you're done. Just let it drip dry. This here is a little more involved, but I think that Alumalite is going to have the best of both worlds, where you dip it and let it get hard in 5 minutes or less. Can't wait to use it. But if I have the time, I'm always going to use the epoxy. It's always seems stronger, smoother. I love to use glitter. I know a lot of people don't like glitter, but I think it doesn't look natural. But I mean, fish are shiny, you know, and they look nice. To me, it looks nice. So I'm using that heat gun again, and from a distance, so that it takes out any air bubbles and excuse me again. It takes out any air bubbles and smooths your lure out. The end result is way better, nice and smooth and shiny. So that heat gun, it gets super hot. I mean, it'll melt your lure if you get too close. So what I do is put my hand behind it, and my hand's getting hot. That means the lure's getting hot. So I back off with the heat gun. Probably shooting it about 2 feet away from it, behind the camera. And again, if my hand starts getting hot, you know, I'll back off a little bit, and just shoot for a little bit. You can see it when the glitter starts to move a little bit. It kind of flattens out and leaves your lure shiny, smooth, no air bubbles.
find the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see, yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young.
There it is, little black and blue craw. It's early. It's only 1 o'clock. It looked terrible. But there it is. And all its glitter glorious. It's my take on the black and blue craw. And I cannot resist but put glitter on it. So if you don't like it, too bad. I like the glitter. Okie dokie. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you like the black and blue craw. And I'll talk to you all later. Peace.